Good evening. This is Stan Matthews in the Matthews broadcast on this Monday, the 18th of September, 2017. Very short time. We're going to be talking about the holiday season. I saw in Somerset Township a little bit earlier today people putting hay bales out.
Wow, is that right?
And there were mums for sale on Route 27
Wow.
already. So, it is flip holidays. They're moving right along.
Yeah.
Halloween is coming or whatever that is, but they're ready to go. And the holiday season will soon be upon us. We are happy to be here as always on the GEMS TV and radio network. This is a very special night. We have rebranded Monday nights, and we are Monday nights will be known from now on as Money Mondays because there are two things that business people need and want. That is capital for their businesses, and that is capital to invest in real estate. And I have an expert sitting to my right that can give them both of those. Mr. Ken Carter has more than 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years.
36 years. He's making me old. Just 36.
Of real estate experience, and business experience, and he is going to bring that to bear for all of us. As we always do when we begin this broadcast, we begin with gratitude. Thank you are the two most powerful words I know to succeeding in business is succeeding in life. Being in a place of gratitude is always helpful for that which you are seeking. So we say thank you to our friends, to our fans, to those who contribute emails, texts, otherwise. You are the greatest audience in the world. We could not have a successful broadcast without you, and those of you who tune in every week and watch, we are just so happy. I am not going to do what I usually do. I'm not going to do shout out specific names this evening because I want the content to be the real value that we share tonight, and I want our guests to be the real value that we share tonight. There are four principles of the Matthews broadcast that are the foundation of this broadcast. The first is alignment. Live in alignment with your divine identity. The first chapter of the Bible, the book of the beginnings, Genesis, says, and God created man and woman in his likeness and image and gave them authority to rule. And so we should be living in alignment with that definition. You are just not a piece of flesh that showed up on this earth to eat, drink, and be merry. You are so much more than that. And so we want to make sure that we always acknowledge our divine identity. Second, upliftment. Upliftment is a state of mind, a state of being that we put each other in. And here we follow our poet laureate, Maya Angelou, who says that in one of my favorite pieces, that people may forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So make someone else feel like the king or the queen that they really are. Do something extra for someone. Your candle loses nothing when it lights another. Your candle loses nothing when it lights another. And we will change this toxic environment that we currently find ourselves in, largely because of the last political election that went by, and get more back to being a community again. And that's something that I think we would all be very grateful and happy for. The third principle of the broadcast is empowerment. And here we focus on 2 Timothy in the Bible. Verse 7 says that I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a strong mind. Of love, power, and a strong mind. So empowerment is our third principle. Again, you are so much more than people think you are. Maybe than even you think you are. There's a story that I like to tell about empowerment when we decide something in our mind, how powerful we are. About 5 years ago, a woman on the Santa Monica freeway, and in Santa Monica there's hills there in California, driving a 4,000-pound convertible Mercedes. The car blows out the tire on the hill, Charlie, and stops. Then the car starts to roll backwards. The woman calls 911, needs help. The police start to come out there. A neighbor who's living up in one of those mansions in the hills calls the police and says, "Oh my God, that car is rolling backwards. You guys better hurry." When the police arrive, the car is back up on level ground on the road, right? And the policeman says, "We had an eyewitness that called and says the car started rolling backwards. How did you do this?" The woman was 95 pounds and 5'2". The car was 4,000 pounds.
Oh boy.
You know what the lady said to the police officer?
What?
"You see that baby in the back seat? Baby was not dying here today."
Wow.
That 96-pound person did what she had to do to make that car go back up that hill.
Right.
Because in her words, baby was not dying here today. So on the principle of empowerment, when we really make it up in our mind that we're going to make something happen, we become supermen and superwomen. But it's just, it takes something that important, like the loss of a child's life at stake. It takes something like that to bring that out of us, right? I see
Right.
Unique sitting out there. I know, Florence, that if you ever feel like she's in danger, you become a different Florence, right?
Oh yes, definitely. Whole other person.
So we might not recognize you
Okay.
when something's going on with her, but that is the empowerment principle. And finally, enrichment. The enrichment principle is a principle that is necessary to understand in this world. I think there's a misreading, a misunderstanding of Scripture in this world that has led many people to believe that suffering and being in poverty is how they should be. There's some nobility in suffering. There's some nobility in being impoverished. I absolutely, violently disagree with that. Over 800 times in the Holy Scripture, the word prosperity is used. Wealth is used over and over and over again. And I don't know why theologians, pastors, put that on people. There is a proverb that says God rejoices when his people prosper. There is a word that says that I have not come, right? I have come to give you life and to give it to you more abundantly, right? So I absolutely disagree with a misreading of Scripture that somehow says there's nobility in poverty. No, we should have the best of all things in life. And yes, you can be good, righteous, and wealthy at the same time. Just look at people like Oprah Winfrey and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, who give tremendous amounts of their massive fortunes to all kinds of charities all over the place. These people are highly prosperous, but they are also good people, right? So goodness and prosperity can live together.
Absolutely.
That's right.
You know, I don't know that
Absolutely.
goodness and being, on the sidewalk homeless is supposed to work together. But I believe that goodness, righteousness, and prosperity can live together. So those are our four principles. And so because the fourth principle is enrichment, it's a good segue to get into the specifics of what Brother Ken is going to share with us in terms of his experience, his expertise in this area. But first, we want to get an opportunity to get to know our two guests this evening. And so here, I'll turn it over to Ken so that you, our audience, can hear from Ms. Florence and Charlie.
Thank you very much, Stan, and good evening, folks.
Hello.
Good evening to the radio listening audience and to our wonderful guests, Florence
Yes.
and Charlie. I've known Charlie for a few years, and I'm looking forward to knowing more about Florence.
Okay.
Florence, what I'd like to do, though, first, if I may,
Sure.
is go ahead and ask you just a few questions about your business. Can I do that?
Yes, you can.
All right, great. What is the name of your business or organization, Florence?
Well, my business is Flows Creations, and it is a beauty parlor in Irvington, New Jersey. A very small establishment. I've been there for 3 years now, and I'm growing every day.
Wonderful. 3 years. If you can hang in there for 3 years,
Maybe.
that's the benchmark. So your trajectory is up now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes.
All right, that's wonderful. What
And
is?
she's got that beautiful person to keep her working hard.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. How old is your daughter?
That's my daughter. She'll be 7 next month.
7. Wonderful. That's
Yes.
motivation there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
All the motivation you need.
That's right. Well, Florence, tell me, what is the unique value of your business?
Well, I really poise myself on hair care. So all of my clients are educated in hair care. Not all of them are natural. Some of them are transitioning, and I like to keep them informed. I like to keep them knowledgeable of different things like balding hair, thinning, and give them resources so that they can address all of those issues they have. So it's really an education-based salon. I don't know if you know how that is, but you know, I really inform them. So we're very educated. We're small, but we're knowledgeable.
So an educated consumer is your best customer.
Oh my, yes.
All right. All right. Now, clearly, I'll support your business, but because I'm bald headed, there's nothing you can do with me but just put some cream on my head. Keep me shined up.
That's okay. That's a service.
Let me go on, Florence. I'm not messing with you like that. Who is the greatest referral for your business to organization? What would be a great referral for you, Florence?
You know, I have been in business for 18 years, and I have taken a lot of education classes. I stay abreast with the knowledge. So there's a Independent Beauty Supply. It's independent. It's a company in Jersey City where they sell beauty supply, offer those products, and they also have classes. So I've taken numerous education classes with them. So they're like a family to me.
Okay.
A lot of the classes, people have been in the business for 30 years plus. So it's a real, a tight knit family. So I really support Independence Beauty Supply.
Okay, so that kind of an organization would be a good referral to you in terms of sending you customers. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. And what, Florence, are some of the things you're offering in return for our audience's support for your business?
I am strong with education. You know, I have people that come to me and they've had other stylists that they go to, but they come to me for the education to let them know what's going on with their hair. I inform them about current up and coming things and different products that they can use to maintain their own hair on a daily basis at home. So, that's...
Okay. Do you run any specials or bonuses from time to time for your customers?
Oh, of course. Wednesdays, senior days. So I take 20% off on Wednesdays. I do young kids during the week. You know, I take some money off of them. So it's usually about $5 or $10 during the week. I can always offer a 15% discount for any new clients that wants to come through. I definitely give them a 15% discount.
Well, Florence, you're on the Matthew broadcast, and we're going to have a dinner later, and you may find some customers down there.
Okay.
All right, you can have that conversation. Well, finally, what is your contact and social media information so that people can get a hold of you?
Oh, my email address is upscale1023@gmail.com, and you can also find me on social media, IG, at upscale1023.
Awesome. Give it to me one more time so that the slow people like me will remember.
Upscale1023@gmail.com, and I'm on Instagram at upscale1023.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Florence, for sharing that with us, and we look
Thank
forward to
you.
talking to you more later.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hey, Charlie Rosa, how are you?
Glorious.
Awesome. Awesome. Glad to see you.
Shut up,
Thank you.
girl.
Charlie, I'm going to ask you to just share with me the kind of business that you're in.
We teach and coach and mentor people about money strategies. How can they get more return versus other vehicles that pay so little?
Okay. What's been your experience? How long have you been in this business? What, about 30 years now, I believe?
31 in January.
31 in January. you're a veteran now.
Charlie knows finance.
Charlie knows finances. Charlie, what are some of the things that you've seen that encourage you to want to share more information with your customers to have them take advantage of some of your products?
The basic how-tos, the fundamentals about financial instruments that most people don't know about. And the reason why is because nobody taught them or guide them,
I see.
or perhaps taught them where to learn or places to go they can learn.
All right, thank you, thank you. Well, there's certainly a tremendous need for more information around that particular paradigm, and I'm gonna try and touch on some of that later tonight. And let me ask you, who is a great? Well, first of all, the unique value of your business. What would that be? What unique value are you bringing to the table with your kind of business? How will it impact people?
Can you elaborate on that? More specifically?
What do you do, Charlie, that other advisors don't do?
Yeah. What?
Quite frankly, we all got the same licenses. It's just that the relationships that you develop over the years, second generations. I'm teaching kids now that are 20ish. I mean, when they were 2, when they were 3, when they were 5.
Wow.
And now, of course, they need financial guidance.
Yes.
So the parents recommend me because the relationship we have built over 30-some years.
Awesome. Thanks, Charlie. Charlie, who is a great referral for your business? Who would be a great referral?
People that are hungry, looking for opportunities.
Hungry, looking for opportunities. That sounds like me and this rest of these people in this room here.
Sounds like 99% of Americans.
Sounds like it.
Right? Cornelius said it's 1% versus 99%. It's everybody else.
That's right. More now than ever. Are you offering anything to our audience, Stand Broadcast Network, for supporting your business?
What do you mean by that?
What can you offer our audience? Do you have any unique benefits for our audience to support you?
Well, they can start as little as $1 a day somewhere, somehow they can find in the budget where they can put money away better than banks. Not to mention all the vehicles and instruments that I represent.
Okay.
I have a form that someone shared with me at a financial seminar. Reverend DeForest, Buster Soaries, and Robert Johnson, the former CEO of Black Enterprise, Black Entertainment Network, BET, put on a conference annually called Debt Free. And at that conference, people learn financial literacy as well as how to invest. And there was a gentleman that came about 2 years ago. He had this form that showed if you were to invest $1 a day for 30 years, you would have something like 1.4 million at a reasonable amount of interest. It wasn't big interest. But what he was demonstrating was how little you have to do, but do it consistently over the long term. And it would turn into fabulous wealth. And so I held on to it. I said, I don't believe this is incredible. I want to go home and add it up, Cornelius, to see if it worked. No, but it was it's based on compound interest.
Well, let me just give you one better. And I got one more question for you, Charlie, so don't go anywhere. If you will double a penny for 30 days, you'll find $5,368,709.12 in your pocket.
On a penny.
Doubling a penny for 30 days.
Wow.
And, oh, yes.
That's
Do the math. Doubling a penny for 30 days.
You know I'm going to do it.
That's why I say to my students, when you're walking down the street and you see a penny, and you leave that penny on the street, you're refusing your wealth. You're pushing your wealth away from you.
That's correct.
That's so important.
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Charlie, last question. This is a good one. What is your contact information and your social media information if people wanted to get a hold of Charlie Rosa?
I'll give you a simple one.
Good.
Charlie Rosa, 2006 at yahoo.com.
Charlie Rosa, 2006 at yahoo.com. You can't get any simple than
Simple.
that.
Charlie
Can't
knows
get
me.
simpler than that.
Charlie knows social media.
All right, so I just want to take the time to thank both of you. I always get excited when I'm in front of entrepreneurs. I've been at it for 36 years, and I still feel like a baby in the woods. but I've learned so much, and I learn from you guys every time I sit down in this chair. Thank you so much for the both of you
Thank
for
you.
being here
Welcome.
this evening.
Thank
Stay
you.
where you guys are. We're gonna do kind of a round robin here now, and really this is where I'd like to use Ken's expertise, and from time to time, you guys, we'll ask you a question. You can chime in as well. But what I want to begin with, Ken, why are you so passionate about helping entrepreneurs find capital?
I'm passionate because I was that entrepreneur 36 years ago who started a company, had a dream, and had the gumption to step out on faith and go for my dream. But almost invariably, when entrepreneurs do that, they find that their dream is passionate and strong, but the resources aren't as long as they need to be. And so we need a little help. And I'll tell you, many times I've gone to banks over the years and said to them, listen, I've got a great product here, I've got a great service, I've got customers coming in, all right, but I need some money, I need some gap financing because I'm not going to get that as a realtor. I don't close for 90 days. I need you to help me get from here to here so I can get to that 90-day closing and cash that check. And sometimes it was not able to be done because banks are, unfortunately, some of them so conservative, and they don't see the value in young entrepreneurs moving forward, stepping out. But I'll tell you something, entrepreneurship in this country, entrepreneurship represents about 80-90% of the businesses.
And the wealth.
And the wealth. And the employers who are hiring people. Okay? And so we are the backbone of the country. So I get excited when I can help them move themselves forward. You know, the sweet thing about what we do at Think and Profit, and I'll talk a little bit more about Think and Profit, a corporation, which is what I work with, Think and Profit Consulting. We do commercial and business financing, but we also do CFO advisory, and that means we'll help small businesses develop processes and systems and give them good advice to move themselves forward. It's not enough to be good at what you do, but you got to manage all the other aspects of your business, the
That's
bookkeeping,
beautiful.
you know, the marketing, and all of the rest. And so I know now, after all these years, what's required. That's why I'm so excited to be in a position to help now.
That's nice.
Excellent.
Well, the greatest investor of all time, Mr. Buffett, who I follow closely, Buffett says that, you know, especially the spiritual people, you can't just pray for it, you have to pay for it. So,
Okay.
so
Absolutely.
you know, there's a there's a place there where you got to understand that there's an intersection between your spiritual desire and also that wealth that you're trying to build, where they connect. And so the flip side of that, Ken, is that Think and Profit also provides capital for people who are investing in real estate, does it not?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, one of the pillars of building wealth is real estate. Real estate, business, and stocks. Isn't it right, Charlie?
That's correct.
Absolutely. And so these pillars are so important. But real estate, under everything, is the land. And the person who owns the land and manages it properly have the major decisions that affect our lives. And if you own real estate, you got a really big jump toward moving yourself in the right direction of wealth, given that you manage it properly.
The next question I want to ask Ken, and we have a question coming in from an audience member. I'm going to share this with you. The audience member's question is that they're often told about the 3 C's of lending. What are the 3 C's of lending?
The 3 C's of lending: cash, cash, and cash.
Not credit,
Credit is part of it, but cash is king.
not collateral.
Collateral is part of it. We need that if you're going to get a loan. Okay? But what we help people understand is if you manage your income and your capital that's coming in properly, you can hang on to that and do more with that in terms of working it. And when I say work it, that means you're making it double like Charlie does, while you're sleeping. You can take a dollar and you can work that dollar so long and so hard, and it can turn into so much more if you're disciplined, if you're patient, and if you're persistent. But yes, you got to have credit, you got to have collateral. And interestingly enough, you're gonna, and collateral represents either something that you can put up a value for that loan, because obviously the bank wants to get their money back. But cash is king.
Let me ask you a question, Florence. For Florence's hair salon, could you use some additional capital to grow the salon?
Actually, yes, because I didn't have any investors. I really stepped
Just
out on
you.
faith. When I opened up my salon, I was just tired of moving from place to place and being uncomfortable and having my clients uncomfortable. So I just took the couple of $1,000s that I had, opened up a salon, and I've been there ever since. I haven't tried to get any loan money or anything like that. But I definitely see my salon expanding into more than just a small entity. I really want to be nationwide, to be honest.
Wow, big dream.
Yeah, we have
so,
big dreams.
so well, this is what you were put on this earth to have authority and rule, right?
yes.
To be the lender, not the borrower, the head and not the tail, right? So
Yes.
this should be, your desire, not to go after small things, but to go after all things.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
So, Ken, what would Florence have to do to engage in the process with Think and Profit for her to access a small business loan?
Well, we would get together after the show. I would give her my contact information, and I'd have her go online, look at what we do first, because I want you to be a well-informed consumer, know who you're dealing with. That's so important.
Yes.
Go and take a look at what we're doing, and then we can get together privately, and I'll share with you all of the ins and outs and look at your needs assessment first, and then we can determine what you need to move yourself forward financially.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
Next question coming in from a Mr. Moore, Ken, wanting to know, there was a time during the last 10 years where there was such a thing as a no documentation loan. This gentleman is saying that he saw an advertisement about no documentation loans again. Are no documentation loans available again? And if so, would you stay away from them?
I would stay away from them. I remember back in the 90s, early 2000s, and even before, banks, many of them were selling no documentation loans. They call them no docs. What it simply means is that when you submit an application for a loan, a 1003, and you sign on there how much your income is, that agent or the representative from that particular bank or mortgage company will say, listen, don't worry. If you're buying a $400,000 house and it requires $175,000 worth of income and you don't have that, don't worry about it. We just state it here. They call them stated loans. And that's the reason why, in large part, we got in the trouble that we got in 2008.
Big trouble.
Yes, because you don't want to have a situation where you know you can't afford something, know you're going to fail, you're starting out that way. We're going to help you make realistic choices and decisions around your finances.
Between 2007 and 2012, I lived in Princeton, New Jersey. Right? So one of our neighbors had one of these loans on the other side of Route 27. So we were talking one day. He was a landscaper, real hardworking guy, named Lewis. And he and I were talking. He said, Stan, you sound like a knowledgeable person. May I ask you a question? And he told me the amount of mortgage he was paying. It was some outrageous sum, like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. It was literally everything that was coming into his landscaping business. I said, Lewis, how did you get such a loan? So he said, well, it was a variable interest loan. So I said, well, how did you get approved to begin with? He said there was a stated income. So I said, well, what is a stated income? He said, they told me whatever I stated was my income. Right? So they approved him, and now he had this financial weapon of mass destruction.
Absolutely.
That
Wow.
the interest was just going up and up, and it was swallowing up, and there was no way to stop it. So I thought something obviously was wrong because he had a decent landscaping business, but there was no way he could afford 19, 20, 21% every time it jumped. They asked for more money, but he had so much pride he would just turn the money over because he wanted his family to hold on to the house. But I said there seemed to be something totally wrong with an instrument like that.
Not only was it wrong, but it was illegal on the face of it, albeit many institutions, credit institutions, banking institutions, turned a blind eye and allowed it to happen. In point of fact, some of them encouraged it to happen and encouraged their loan agents to go out there and write these toxic loans, which is what they were, because we knew from the door that they were going to fail because the person didn't have the income to support the note, the mortgage note. So, listen, no need to take on what you cannot afford. Yes, dream big, but keep your feet on the ground.
Let me ask you a question, Charlie. While we all suffered between 2008 and 2010, and in many cases are just getting things back to where they were. Many of us laughed when they said my 401 became a 101 or a -1, during that time. But during that time, Charlie, how did your business as an advisor, how did you advise people during that time of crisis? Were clients panicking? How did you keep them calm in the face of the storm?
Well, first of all, for the disclosure purposes, this is not a solicitation to know about vehicles on Wall Street. However, we sell the concept of dollar cost averaging, which means that in those years that the funds or their stocks or their actions, their shares, should I say, lowered at the time, the dollar cost averaging, which means you put the same amount of money, whatever it was that you
And you
can
get to
afford
buy
on a
more
monthly
stock.
basis. I'm sorry?
And you get more stock.
Yeah, you buy more for the dollar. And then, of course, we know that that's also cyclical, which means that it doesn't stay the same. So in the next 4, 5, 6, 7 year period, you get more for the dollar, buying better returns. And of course, we know that long-term purposes, if you need the money at that time, then I guess you need it. But if you don't, and we do an analysis for that, so it's a 10-year run. So in case something happens in crisis like it did in 2008, they already know, being informed and educated, this is dollar cost averaging, just putting money every month, buying more for the dollar when those shares lowered at the time when that happens. And that happens every day, by the way. It's just a matter of how long you want to keep working on the funds for your future returns of your victory that you want to have money on.
I got it. During that time, Florence, did you notice that your clients behaved differently when the debt, when it really got deep in the recession, 08, 09, 010?
Definitely.
Was it hard to do your business during that time?
That time I really tried to branch out and do other things. Do more magazine work and different things like that because I'm in the inner city. It was trying for even my community. The people who have homes and everything. It was very trying. So I really did branch out at that time just to fill that void and experience a couple of new things. Yeah. So definitely.
So that brings us back to where we are now. Ken, we're at a time now where the economy is growing. The statistics seem to be pointing towards things getting better. I think the question now is, how do all of us operate in this environment to protect ourselves? And how does Think and Profit work with the general public in creating a healthier, wealthier, more conscious community?
Well, we try again to give good, solid advice and guidance for entrepreneurs. We also have a point of purchase consumer loan that we sell to small retailers. consumers who go into various and sundry businesses and don't have the money immediately. We provide a short-term lending program to mechanics, funeral homes, and a number of different businesses in order to, one, facilitate the purchase for the customer and increase cash flow on the part of the retailer. And so we provide those things. But at the end of the day, we need to have, generally speaking, more knowledge about financial literacy. We need to understand more about money. It's, we seem to just be a great consumer nation, a credit-driven nation. Credit is good. Using other people's money is important. But you have to do it strategically. You've got to do it wisely, because when you do use credit, that use of that credit should be putting more money in your pocket, not taking more money out. That's how you effectively use other people's money, by buying products, buying services, buying vehicles that are putting money in your pocket. Investment real estate puts money in your pocket if you manage it properly. And so that's good debt. Conversely, if you buy a one-family house, and I've owned many, it's a wonderful thing to have, but it's a liability. I'm not advocating not buying one-family homes. Yes, understand that, but it's a liability. Buying investment property is an asset.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to understand that distinction. Nothing wrong with either one. And if you're going to buy a liability, make sure you can afford it.
We had one of our viewers, Miss Joan Martin, just called, and she said she's just enjoying the education, doesn't have a question. So Joan, you keep on enjoying the education. If you decide you have a question, we're here for you. I have another question from a Mr. Claiborne here. What about terms? What are the terms that Think and Profit are offering for real estate loans? He says he buys and sells real estate.
Well, our terms are uniquely designed for each individual borrower. There's not a one shoe fits all proposition when it comes to lending and lending terms. And so we look at a number of things. We look at credit, we look at their assets, we look at what their position is in terms of their business, the performance of their business. All of these things are taken into consideration. And interestingly enough, all businesses are unique in that way. And so we get together with them because this is all confidential. This is proprietary. And so when we sit down with customers and give them the information they need, it's tailor-made for them and their situation.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of Think and Profit? I know you have a partner. I know the headquarters is in Pittsburgh, PA, and there's also a Madison, New Jersey office. But tell us a little bit more about Think and Profit. How did it come to be? Why did you and your partner feel a need for creating that company in the aftermath of the devastation of 08 to 010?
Great question. Great question. Let me give you a brief history. For about 26 years, I owned a real estate brokerage company, and the last 12 years in South Orange, New Jersey.
Everybody knows Kenton Financial.
Kenton Realty Group. Kenton Realty Group. And my partner, Trevor McKenzie, owned Cosmopolitan Mortgage Company. He was a licensed mortgage banker. He had a thriving business, and I had a thriving business. And we were doing well. And my secretary that I had for 12 years, when things started to go south financially, I started to see I had 17 salespeople and about 9 appraisers. And we saw the revenue dropping, and so we had to make some decisions. So by November 07, I had to close my doors. My partner, Trevor, closed his doors, moved his family just around the same time, maybe another year later, moved in his family to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, went and got his master's in finance. I went to a company out in Santa Barbara, California, got certified as a money coach and began teaching financial literacy and entrepreneurship. Later, we came back together in 2013, 2014, and shared our experiences away from New Jersey and began to recognize the synergy that we had. Moreover, we had been working 25 years together anyway. I'm doing the real estate end and he's doing the mortgage end.
You guys were almost married.
Well, not quite.
A business marriage, Ken.
No, well, actually, we had our relationship was better than most marriages
All right.
because we stuck together and had trust and integrity
Yeah.
to each other with each other. You see, and we do to this moment right here. And he's like more than a brother, but he's a great business person, and I have a lot of respect for him.
I understand why.
And so anytime you're going to partner with somebody to do business with them, know who you're partnering with, and you must have faith and trust in that partner. Okay? And so our business relationship transcends, in one sense, the business, because we have a personal relationship as brothers. We've traveled together, we've done a lot of things.
So now, fast track, you guys decided to come back together. You're coming back from Santa Barbara. He's coming, Pittsburgh, gets his master's in finance.
Yes.
So where does Think and Profit come in?
Well, Think and Profit comes in to close the financial gap that's wide open and gaping that needs to be closed for entrepreneurs. We had that experience. We know what it's needed. We know when you have to go out there and fill out an application to a bank for a business loan. You know full well you've got the business coming in, you've got all the products, you've got the knowledge. We want somebody to trust us, have faith in us, because we have integrity. We're going to pay you back. But in this instance, most times banks aren't willing to take that risk. We decided we're going to get in a position to help entrepreneurs do it ourselves. So when your bank says no, we say yes.
That's
I like that. That has a ring to it, Charlie.
very
It
pitchy.
made somebody call in. I got a question coming. Okay, go ahead. So, how do you manage to say yes when the traditional banking community says no? How do you find the resources, let's say non-bank resources, to be able to still supply your clients with capital?
We do business with a number of traditional banks that we've found are reasonable in terms of their position and lending criteria. And we also work with non-traditional banks that provide even hard money loans. These are short-term loans. And so we vet all of the lenders that we deal with so that we are sure that they're going to provide the needs for our customers. And so that's our thrust. That's our a mantra. Let's get it right.
All right. Well, in the time that we have left, what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you, Charlie, and you, Florence, an opportunity to share your pearls of wisdom. You first, Charlie. If there is a young person going into business right now, and they ask Charlie Rosa the question, Charlie, how can I assure myself success? What are the 3 things that you would tell them? Just 3.
Well, first of all, I would say take experience when somebody else in the industry, but you work as an employee for that company for a year or 2. Save your money at least 2 or 3 times the capital you need. And number 3, get mentors, coaches to help you, to teach you, they've been around before you started the business or whatever business you plan to start.
I like that. Florence, if a young stylist came to you and said, I want to go out on my own, I want to do what you did, what are the 3 things you would tell him or her?
My bookkeeper initially told me to stay organized. Make sure your books are correct. That's very important to keep your lights on and keep your business accounts together. And I would also tell them to be cautious when trying to hire people, people that may want to work with you. Be very cautious and observe them and fill them out and try them. And never give up. Don't quit. If it's your dream, you absolutely be able to achieve it.
So never give up. Have that persistence.
Definitely have to be persistent.
And if if that's your dream,
Then make it happen.
all right.
Lots of faith.
All right.
Let me share something
Well, I was going
with you.
I was going to come to you last, sir,
My bad.
and say, if a young person came to you today and said, or tomorrow, and said, Mr. Carter, I'd like to dive into the pool of entrepreneurship, what are the 3 things you would share as your pearls of success?
Well, I would say that small business isn't for the faint of heart. It's for the brave, the patient, and the persistent. It's for the overcomers. That's the one thing I would say. And I would say there are no secrets to success. It's the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from your failures. And finally, the only place where you can find success, and only time it comes first,
Here it comes.
before
Cornelius.
work, is in the dictionary. Success only comes before work in the dictionary.
In the dictionary.
And that's it.
That's nice.
That's heavy. That's heavy. I will say that, barring on all 3 of you, May the 10th of 2018, I would achieve a milestone that I'm very proud of. I would have been 30 years self-employed here in the state of New Jersey, and
Congratulations.
very proud of
That's wonderful.
3 children, 2 who have graduated from college and 1 who is halfway there. So that milestone represents for me a certain amount of pride, because what it took to be able to do what you just said, Ken, on many nights, and Charlie, I'm sure you can identify, and Florence, I'm sure you can identify, on many nights I didn't know that there was going to be a tomorrow.
I'm in the amen choir right now.
You know, people do not understand what entrepreneurship means from a perspective of courage and strength until they have a payroll to make. When you have people whose family is relying on you for income, no matter how great or how small, people don't ask you, did you get paid? They just ask for their pay. And they're entitled to it. But the side of entrepreneurship that people don't brag about is how many checks the owner of the business has in a drawer that they have not cashed.
That's right.
How many, I remember when we were living in South Orange one time, my youngest opened up the drawer and all these checks fell on the ground when we owned the transportation company, the courier service. He said, Daddy, what are all these checks? I said, one of these days, Elijah, one of these days, I'm going to be able to cash a few of them. But those are the moments as you look back over a period of time. You had 17 appraisers, 9 salesmen on the road, things to be prideful of. But the one thing that no one can take away from us, any of the 4 of us in this room, is your independence.
Yes.
I would rather be free and on my own than in a job, because for me, job is an acronym for just over broke.
Yes.
I don't know, Cornelius, that I can handle a boss.
Yeah.
I don't know if my psychology would allow that. And so for me, even when I don't have it, my independence is worth more than a job any day. So I just want to do a round robin real quick. Charlie, if you had to do it over, would you get a job?
Not ever. I was raised and born to be a business person.
I know. Florence, if you had to do it over, would you get a job?
No, I work too many jobs. I like my job.
You want to own the job.
I am the
right?
job. Okay?
Ken, if you had it to do over,
No, this is my life's blood, and I get up in the morning, every morning, excited because I have something to do that I control. I am rowing my own boat.
That's right.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Well, as all of you know, in about 5 minutes' time, my friend Pastor Angelo McCutcheon will be coming on with the Credit Repair Show. So as you prepare for the Credit Repair Show, I want you to think about two things. There's two types of people in this world. Dreamers like you, and all of those in the reception area, and you certainly, and dream killers. Embrace the first and run like heck from the second. For those of you who watch tonight's broadcast, understand entrepreneurship can be the gateway to tremendous riches, but it's not what you get as the outcome of entrepreneurship, in my humble opinion. It's who you become
Absolutely.
in the process.
Absolutely.
It is swallowing hard on your pride when you don't have what you need to have your camera equipment, Cornelius. It's swallowing real hard on your pride where you know you just might have enough gas to get to that key appointment.
Absolutely.
It's biting down and being disciplined when that proposal that you worked on for 6 months is just doesn't seem that the other person is going to sign off on it. But you know you have to keep going. For those of you who persevere in those moments, those 11th hours, for those of you who have gone uphill, downhill, been knocked down, been knocked back, and yet hold on to that dream of entrepreneurship, to you is the future. To you is enormous wealth and riches. And to you, this company owes a debt of gratitude because you are the employment machine of the United States of America. It's often said that America's business is business. Well, I will say that if America's business is business, then entrepreneurs are the vitamin C of this country. Because
Absolutely.
without them, nothing moves.
Absolutely.
And so I'm glad and proud to be free and an entrepreneur, able to create a destiny for myself and my family that no one else could change but the Creator himself. And so for Ken Wonderboy Carter, oh, here comes Pastor McCutcheon, my image doctor Cornelius Hill, fabulous Florence Wilson, and Charlie, cash cow Charlie. This is called Charlie said you gotta have cash. This is Stan Matthews saying good night and God bless.
Thank you.